Welcome to 30 Days of Marketing Mavens. 30 days, 30 experts, 30 marketing niches. Brought to you by Profit Master Business Solutions. More leads, more sales, and more revenue for your small or medium-sized business. Click findnewrevenue.com to learn more. Now here's your host, Howard Walpoff.
Welcome to 30 Days of Marketing Mavens. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Howard Walpoff. I am your host, and this is brought to you by Profit Master Business Solutions. We're excited to share with you 30 days of experts and marketing concepts and thought process and real great tips for you to achieve more for yourself, for your business, for your branding, and you'll be amazed on what you're going to learn here. So thank you so much for joining us. Today, we are starting out with a customer loyalty architect, Tamara Burkett, who is the #1 best-selling business book, Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. She leverages technology to achieve business success and matches the right technology to accelerate company growth for clients. Tamara, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Howard. It's a pleasure.
So you've been involved in marketing for quite a while. You really have a really great resume of experience. Why don't you tell us, how did you actually get started and how did that path lead you to what you're doing for companies today?
Sure. Well, my business has definitely evolved into what it is today. When I started consulting, it was focused on customer retention and loyalty strategies. So I assisted small business owners, micro businesses, and solopreneurs in formulating a plan of how to keep their customers engaged beyond the service or the product once it's purchased. And so we came together, we created these wonderful plans and talked about customer experience and how to execute. But that was the issue, is how can they execute this plan gracefully, where they have enough time to still deliver service and continue to engage their customers and increase loyalty. So that's when I began my search for different technology, different software to assist them in the execution. And that's when, I looked into CRMs, and right away I understood there were huge issues with that whole industry and with small business owners utilizing and leveraging that technology to help further and grow their business. So I tumbled down that rabbit hole and I tried hundreds of CRMs, understood quite quickly how they were configured, and saw the gaps of how to implement and adopt that for small business owners. So as I figured that whole thing out for myself and for my clients, there became a demand. There were other people who asked me to assist them in that effort. And that's how I switched my focus on the technology and understood that as the true problem when it came to execution of that plan.
And finding the right CRM, I think a lot of companies have that problem. I know my experiences with CRM have been rocky, to say the least. I worked for a national radio company that didn't have one.
Yeah.
So everything was in Excel, having our own little charts. Then they decided they were going to build their own, and in the process of building their own, they sold the division, and that never got fully tested and implemented. And I went on to another radio company who didn't have a CRM. So it's but I know what the success is when you do have the right one, how that can really help the sales process in a very efficient way.
Yeah, it has so many benefits to it when you have the right system. But, CRMs can be bulky. They can be very complex. They can be clunky. I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with my CRMs, and I understand other people do too. And you can be pretty intimidated by that because we're not IT people, right? I'm not an IT person. I don't do code, but I understand what CRMs can do for my business and should do for my business. So just figuring out those ways that I can take my my process and put it into a system so that it functions and it is tailored towards how I work and my clients, how they work and what's important for them. And so just walking through that strategy, you have to have a CRM strategy, and just helping them with that whole piece. When everything is said and done, just doing business is so much easier, and it simplifies your process, and it can be a joy. So I'm helping them through that, but it can be rough. It can be definitely a challenge.
And I'm sure a lot of them start off really not knowing what they want, and even more importantly, what they need.
Right.
What kind of direction do you give to them to really create that strategy to find out what they should be working with?
Right. So we start off looking at their sales process. We also look at their marketing and understand where the challenges lie. So if they have bottlenecks in their business, or let's say if they're networking and they have issues with entering in all the information from the business cards they collect, or if they really don't have a sales process. It's stuck in their head and they have a couple of standard points, but it's not really drawn out for them. It's not really clear. That's what we start with, identifying those challenges. And then I can identify the type of CRM that they need. So for instance, if they do a lot of online marketing, they purchase ads, they need a marketing automation CRM. And so that's where I'll start my search, versus people who do more networking and they prospect on LinkedIn. And that's where they get most of their leads. Then they need a different CRM. It's more of a sales CRM with a strong component of contact management. So again, it's identifying those challenges and where their business is bottlenecking.
Is there a CRM for every company, or are there situations where you need to then hire someone to design something for a particular company?
Yeah, so for the most part, the majority of business owners, they can get away with the CRMs that you see out there today. It's about identifying the right kind of CRM for them. There are some that's tailored specifically towards industry, like realtors. There are a lot of CRMs that are tailored toward them. But then there are general CRMs that have components for service industries, different service professionals like CPAs and people of that nature. But there are instances where you do need to customize, build something from the ground up. And that's where you have unique processes and different departments that need to integrate together in a specific way. And I do have a team that can assist in that, but that's not often. And you're talking about a mid-sized to larger size company that would need that.
And yes, it's key that not many are going to need full customized just for them. I know there are a lot of them that are out there that really are built for everyone, and you can customize within to make life easy. But how often you are coming across sometimes the CRM is solid and the sales staff is not. So how often are you coming across companies that you're working with that are having challenges with their staff integrating into utilizing the CRM the right way?
Often. Often. So here's the deal. A lot of companies, mid-sized companies in particular, would purchase a CRM with the thought of managing their people through the system. And so they don't think about the other benefits that can help their team with performance and train them, or even bring them in at the beginning when they are doing the selection process. And so when you don't have buy-in with the end user, there's conflict, there's issues, and they end up not using it because either they don't know how, or it's too much work for them to actually input the data into the system, and they don't see the value of that. And that's the complaint of most sales professionals that I speak with, is they spend 65% of their time entering in information, and it's slowing them down from making sales. Where the CRM, it's intended to help them make sales, help them improve in that area. So having that discussion with the managers and the VPs about, that whole piece of bringing people in at the beginning, instead of making that decision and then mandating people to use it once you have it installed, because then you have major issues with process and how your sales professional can adapt that into the process that they're using.
Yeah, a lot of it seems to be mindset. Some of it just seems to be tedious work because people don't like doing data entry, and it bogs people down. And I can relate to that. It bogs people down because they're taking probably twice, 3 times as long, or just typing in things that quickly, if they just typed it in and moved on, they would be able to keep going with the pace of their sales day.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some tricks I like to train people, especially if you have a mobile responsive CRM, and that is an essential feature that all CRM should have these days, is to either have a mobile app or allow your people to log in on their electronic devices when they're in the field. And so when you're able to do that, you can use your talk feature in your phone, and you can actually talk in your notes to your CRM. So I encourage people to use that when they're out in the field to minimize the amount of data entry and note taking they have to do when they get back to the office. But trying to find my purpose and my goal for clients is to find a way to eliminate or reduce data entry. So when I look at CRMs, I look for those components of how can we integrate or sync this with an email. So as soon as I send an email message, my CRM picks up that data and it's automatically in my database. It's in my system, and there's AI that can do search to update the data, right? To update contacts and things of that nature, because that's the key. That's the main barrier to people using their CRM, is that there's a lot of data entry, and people don't have time for that. I know I don't have time for that. So
I know it's. I'm thinking about my iPhone right now, where someone sends me an email or a text, and I'm gonna put them in as contacts. The iPhone will show more information that they found in the email body, with address and different phone numbers, different email addresses, so I can save that in, so I don't have to enter it in. It is a great help to make sure that I keep this person as a contact.
Right, absolutely. And so I look for CRMs that can sync with your phone. So now that they're in your phone, it's in your system, and now the system can pull up the history of your communications. So instead of looking in different systems to find the last conversation, it's going to pop up in your system as soon as you hit that profile.
It makes things so much easier, and
Right.
and less to worry about what the salesperson is or is not going to do about entering, and that definitely helps the mind of the sales manager and the ownership of that with that going on.
Right.
So with that all said, what would you say is your number one strategy that's really working well for you and your clients to achieve their marketing goals?
It's really using the basics of relationship building.
Okay.
And so a lot of times we get wrapped up in the sexiness of the digital online marketing space. And we hear about sales funnels and about our email list and all these things. And not to take away from those things, they work and they can be effective. But one, it takes time and it takes resources. Right. And it also can take you away from the regular activities that you're doing, especially if you're not tracking those things. So it's important to look at the relationships that you have and figure out a very simple way to work the list that you have and grow from there. If you don't have the resource, if you're bootstrapping your business and your money is allocated elsewhere, this can be the quickest way to your cash flow. And a lot of people overlook it because it's work, or they feel like it's work and they don't know where to start. But it's very simple to reach out to people who already know you. We know the statistics of your warm market and how they're more likely to buy from you than the cold market. But again, a lot of us, lack the plan and lack the tools so that we can do that and simplify that system. And so it's when you have those basics, you build a foundation, and then you can go off into the digital world and you can do the email list and you can do the sexy sales funnels and you can track those things because you have the cash flow to pay for that, to finance that. And then you also have the patience to be able to tweak it and master that, right? So that it's not a 2% conversion rate to your email list. Mm-hmm. You have a 15%, you have a 26 or 28% conversion rate because you have the time to really master that. So for me, it's let's get to the basics, make sure we build that solid foundation, and then we can go play in a digital world.
It all comes down to people and how you relate and speak to people and nurture those relationships. It really does.
Absolutely.
So this is really great guidance for companies. I think having the right CRM is extremely important. Having had experiences of not having the right CRM and all the work and my spreadsheets that would go all the way down columns because of the systems that I had to set up. So I really hope that people out there are planning this or finding the right direction with the right CRM, because you always want to track and you always want to, because this is what's going to build your funnel and the communicating with the funnel the right way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So if someone wanted more information from you about how to be in the right track with their technology, what would be the best way to contact you?
So you can definitely visit my website, and I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I'm easy to find because it's my name, Tamara Burkett. Reach out to me, say, hey, I heard your interview. I'd love to connect, and I'll definitely connect. So reach out.
Well, perfect. Tamara, thank you so much for joining us. This really was some great information for people to understand. Again, I'm biased because I know how if you do not have the right CRM, the bigger challenges when it comes to the sales process. So make sure that you're going out and getting the right CRM so that you can implement all the different pieces of communicating with your prospects and customers. So thank you so much for sharing this with us today.
Thanks again for having me, Howard. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate that. And thank you all for joining us. There's a lot of information to be shared, a lot of information to be learned, and I really hope you take part in the process. Join the Facebook group to have some conversations about each and every interview, and go out and have a great day today, and we will see you next time.